civilization, Indus and Saraswati civilization, Jainism, Buddhism, Mauryan period, which was called the golden age of the Indian sciences and arts, Muslim invasions, the Mughal Empire, Portuguese invasions, the British East India Company, the British Empire across pan-India, and the freedom struggle, then the great independence of the country. Now, the Sone Ka Chidiya, it was true, which never invaded on any other country. It only defended against the foreign invasions. We don't have any Indian king conquering for the sake of expansion or plundering the countries. So, in 17th century, the British came, Robert Clive, in 1750, he plundered after Bengal, the seas. He plundered even whatever is left after Ghori, Ghazni Khan, Chengiz Khan, and all those people, the foreign invaders, many people, even from the Greek, everything, they plundered and left the country. And now, the Robert Clive, that time, he about 4 lakh pounds he plundered from Bengal, and which is estimated, it is imaginary estimation, 1 billion pounds by 1901. Today, if you take it, it is $1 trillion money. Only one thug called Robert Clive. This is, of course, you don't have account for what is plundered because they never reveal it. Now, the colonial invasions, like I told, 1498, Portuguese started the East India Company, Cochin and Goa headquarters. 1600, English East India Company was established in Madras, Calcutta, Bombay. 1602, Dutch East India Company in Pulicat and Nagapattinam. 1616, Danish East India Company at Serampore. 1664, the French East India Company at Pondicherry. British era was the period of direct British rule over the Indian subcontinent from 1858 till the War of Independence concluded into partition of the country into two, India and Pakistan, in 1947. The British Raj as a whole succeeded in a complete seizure of the country with their divide and rule policy, and because of the greatest weaknesses that we suffered, we had more than 10,000, I don't know exactly, I estimate 10,000 provinces, princely states, kingdoms, empires that existed by the time British came. And each of these princely states or the kingdoms, they were fighting with each other. If they were together, no East India Company would have really conquered us. That is the biggest weakness of the country, which succumbed to the British. The second was science and technology played a bigger role in the success of the British. We were traditionally strong, psychologically strong, but not the modern science and technology was available with us. The rifles, the bombs, the cannons were not there with us. That was the second reason for the failure before the Mughals and before the British. We succumbed to them because of this. So then the aggression of the British started, and the company assets were afterwards taken under the direct control of the British government after the 1857 war, the first war of independence. Even there were some Sipahi mutinies before that, 1806, people say. These historians say Vellore, the first war actually started there. The people, the Sipahis revolted, but it limited itself to a certain geography. But 1857 was across the country. It was on a large scale. Therefore, it caught the attention of the British, sent the tremors, the message. It was the a major event that has changed the whole scenario, 1857. So these are the brief things about the 1857 War of Independence. The epicenter was Barakpur. The first rebellion was Mangal Pandey, who revolted against the as officer, the military officer, and it started like that, and they were punished and hanged for that in the Meerut Barrackpore. And after that, it reached the Delhi, and Bahadur Shah too was proclaimed as the Emperor of India under the people who were carrying his first war of independence. Then afterwards it reached Kanpur. Kanpur, it was led by Nana Sahib, the adopted son of Baji Rao, to the last king of the Peshwa, last Peshwa of that dynasty. Nana Sahib supported him, and Tantia Top supported him. Ajimullah expelled the British from Kanpur with the help of the Sepoys. Then it was recaptured by the British. Lucknow revolt was organized by the Begum of Awadh, and that was also suppressed brutally by the British. Jhansi, you know, with the name of the Jhansi, every man, every woman, even every living and non-living organism on this country will be really, really inspired. कोई कहते हैं अगर झांसी का नाम या भारत का नाम अगर आप लेते हैं, आपका अगर बदन रोमांचित नहीं होता है, आप नहीं कह सकते हैं आप भारत को प्यार करते हैं, या हमारा जो फ्रीडम फाइटर्स है, जो हमारे लिए आज आजादी जो है केवल उन्हीं का बदौलत है, उसका हम लोग अभी कोई ना सोना ना power, nothing else you can give in exchange of that. The value of freedom is known only when you lose it. Nobody can explain that. Then Bihar, Kanwar Singh, the Jamindar of Jagdishpur, organized this revolt in Bihar. Ultimately, Viceroy Canning and the British people, the British rule has overpowered and curbed this first war of independence, and Canning Viceroy proclaimed peace throughout India and the end of first war of independence. You see, Mangal Pandey, the first rebellion, the rebellion for a cause, the rebellion not for the personal things, it is a rebel for the cause of the nation, for the cause of the society. And Jhansi Ki Rani, today, we say many people in the modern this thing, and even employment, people say, look, I have this problem, I have mother, I have father, I have a small kid, I cannot travel, I cannot do, I cannot come beyond late hours. Then I laughingly used to tell that, you know how Jhansi Ki Rani went for waging war? She पिट्टू कर दिया है, उनका लड़का को पिट्टू बिठा के पीछे बांध के युद्ध में गई है। ये है एक बड़ी एग्जाम्पल है, कोई आपको नहीं रोकता है कर्म करने में या ड्यूटी करने में। This is the biggest inspiration anybody can take when you are stuck by any personal barriers. Now, this is the second phase of the Indian independence struggle was establishment of Congress, and this also has three phases under the Congress. 1885 to 1917 was the first phase. This was dominated by the Naramdal and Garamdal. The initial stage, Naramdal means the soft approach, but when you start rebellion, you may not be that aggressive, and the people were modest, and the people who are trying to organize themselves how to go about. And the start of Congress was a big landmark in taking this plot, in creating a platform and taking this cause of Indian independence further. So initially, even I also sometimes look at, even in my enemy, you should look at the merit. If your enemy is meritorious, you should not hesitate to appreciate and follow that. See, the Congress was also supported by the British. The people, maybe some people say, the British people, visionary British people, they thought if you don't give any platform to vent out the voice, the suppression will lead to revolt. Therefore, it may be applied or it may be modest approach, and some people really thought that India is being suppressed. There may be a backlash, and we should also try to listen, try to facilitate, and do whatever best. That may be one of the background, but many people helped in forming this idea of Congress. And General Secretary first was Evo Hume, Alan Octavius Hume, and it was presided by Umesh Chandra Banerjee, the Calcutta president. Actually, this was started, the Congress was founded in the Gokuldas Tejpal Sanskrit College in Bombay with 72 delegates. There, the prominent figures were Dadabhai Naoroji, the great economist, Surendranath Banerjee, Badruddin Tyabti, W.C. Banerjee, Subramanya Iyer, Ramesh Chandra Dutt, and some other British people who stood for the cause of the struggle of Indian independence. So this way it started, and the first phase, 1885 to 1905, was predominantly the Naram Dal. Naram Dal, soft approach, pray, petition, protest. British से आप अपना attention लाइए, एक पत्र बनाइए, चिट्ठी बनाइए, उनको भेजिए, हमारा प्रॉब्लम आप सुन लीजिए, आप कृपा करके इसका ऊपर आप कार्रवाई करिए. इस तरह का this kind of pray, petition, and the last was protest. At all, if you are really angry, you might have protested in a soft fashion. So this did not go well for long. Then there was an aggressive team, always it will be there. It is the reinforcement of any civil engineering construction. You have Malwa to give the external interior finishing, but the RCC is very important. And then here, the Lal Bal Pal team, Lala Lajpat Rai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and Bipin Chandra Pal, followed by Arvind Ghosh. The rebellion turned into philosopher. They were inspired or they become angry with the Bengal partition by Karjal, which sowed the ultimate seeds for the partition of this country at the time of liberation or freedom. Now, 1905 and 1908, that period was Swadeshi movement, boycott of foreign products, with the clarion call of this Vande Mataram given by the Bengali poet. And then 1906, Muslim League was established by Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Then 1906, Calcutta session of INC, Indian National Congress, they said Swaraj is our goal. This is the first time we had Swaraj, independent India. It's not the dominion status or the participation of the Indians is not the answer. Swaraj. That is the address. Dadabhai Naoroji, the presidential address told we will have Swaraj. Then 1907, Surat split was there in the Congress because it was predominantly supported by the aggressive. Extremist is the word used in the history, but I don't call it. This is the aggressive approach of the INC, the strategic approach. And then this session caused a split between these two people, Naram Dal and Garam Dal, and followed by this 1909 Minto Marley reforms were announced by the government as a ploy under the divide and rule policy, and creating separate electorates for the Muslims on communal lines. So then, followed by this 1915 and 16, the Home Rules movement was started by Bal Gangadhar Tilak, the stalwart national leader coming from Maharashtra, the Shivaji Maharaj place, and he was equally ferocious. Annie Besant, another the European supporting our cause. Lokmanya told, Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it. It is a categorical announcement, nothing less than Swaraj. Don't talk anything beyond this, less than this. So this caught the British by surprise. This is something very important for them. Then the Congress tried to reconcile because the British took aggressive posture when the divide was happening between the Narandal, Garandal and the Muslim League and the other parties, Home Rule, all these different platforms coming up. Then the Congress tried a pact with Muslim League in Lucknow. Then also they said it's not true. If we expel the extremist group or the aggressive group of the people, we should take them into fold. They were let in again to come into the Congress system. Then the next part was predominantly by the Gandhi. Gandhi entered after this. This is called Gandhian era of 1917 to 48. This period, Gandhi came from South Africa and he reached the country, arrived in Bombay 1915, and he toured like a parivrajaka or a vagabond all over the country, understood what is going around, and then only he started entering the politics. 1917, he started officially his political debut with the Champaran campaign against the indigo cultivators. Then Kheda first non-cooperation movement, then Ahmedabad mill workers Andolan, and Rowlatt Satyagraha against the Rowlatt Act and the massacre of Jallianwala Bagh, which resulted, spearheaded the kind of next 1920 biggest movement in future, that is non-cooperation movement. But Gandhi, why? He is a very tallest and prominent figure of the Indian freedom struggle. He understood, see, the British might, see, at the hand of British, suppose if the people in the First World War, Second World War, you know, when you hit the wall or when you hit the hill, or when you hit the government, it is very difficult to do a military option for a civilian. So he took the three-dimensional approach of non-violence, satyagraha, truth and non-violence, satyagraha, and passive resistance. So beautiful, seamless power, unlimited power he acquired with these three principles, and made the British Raj to shiver with his kind of approach. When one bomb, one cannon, or so many rifles cannot give the answer, but this three-dimensional rifle of non-violence, truth, satyagraha, and passive resistance caused a great shift in the War of Independence. Then there were a lot of other things. Sakali movement started in 1920. There were All India Trade Union Congress in 1920 also started. Lala Lajpat Rai was presiding. Then the non-cooperation movement and Khilafat movement under the kind of very active politics played by Mahatma Gandhi. Non-cooperation movement in 1920, it was going very well. People were very unhappy and anger was all over because the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, General O'Dwyer killed thousands. Their estimate is hundreds, but it is thousands. Thousands of innocent people, Hindus, Sikhs, Muslims, everybody was killed in the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. This caused enormous trouble or concern. Then people said, we want something big. Then Gandhi took the call and he started the non-cooperation movement, going very well for about 2 years, and people were really in full swing across the country. It is going well, but Gandhi suddenly called off the movement in February 22. Chauri Chaura incident, which was a violent incident where the agitating Indian masses torched alive some British and other sipahis by setting the police station itself on fire. This caused great concern to Gandhi. It was a big hit on his non-violent principles. This is where Gandhi was criticized. Why did you stop? This is going very well. People are charged. This is the moment we should hit hard and we can get the freedom. But you see, this is the difference for a leader. when the compromise of the philosophy happens, even at the cost of the whole universe, you should not do that. If you have done, Gandhi would have been dead on the day itself, philosophical, not physical. That is the beauty. You have Gandhi in you, I have Gandhi in me, everybody has. Because we speak truth, nothing great. We are non-violent, nothing great. We also do the non-passive resistance. But Gandhi was a unique figure, 100%. All the 100 occasions he was same. But we might have or may have compromised at one point of time. Then you lost that. Therefore, Gandhi was not trained by any Oxford or business or any business school for how to run and organize an event or a war of this kind, or not trained anywhere like a Sipahi. But he was really an accident, and he invented, it was a laboratory for him. He invented himself, and he experimented with himself, his philosophy, and took this big avatar of the modern age. So I don't hesitate to say this is the 11th avatar of this country, Gandhi. And then the other incidents, there were prominent leaders who played role like Chandra Bose, Subhash Chandra Bose, Swaraj Party was there, and there was also Hindustan Republican Association, Chandrasekhar Azad, Sachin Sanyal, Ram Prasad Bismil, the very powerful and inspiring rebellions, warriors for all the youth. When I was young, when I used to take the Chandrasekhar Azad name, I really get charged. I don't know what, I couldn't measure my blood pressure at that point of time. That was the inspiration. Bhagat Singh, Azad, Rajguru, Sahdev, all these people left an impression on the youth, including you and I, everybody of those ages. Then, Belgaum session, Gandhi was declared the president, and officially he took over the reins. And Kakori train case was there. This was the end of the rebellion or the revolutionary kind of contributions. The revolutionaries were suppressed after this. Then the Simon Commission came, very important thing in 1927 to look at the review the 1919 Act, giving the partial autonomy and the reforms required. And it was fully white dominant, people vehemently opposed, and there was widespread agitation across the country, and the British brutally killed stalwarts like Lala Lajpat Rai, Sanders. He crushed while standing on the chest of the Lala Lajpat Rai. That really caused the greatest anger in the country, and people naturally, Bhagat Singh, the stalwart of this revolutionary ideology, he got perturbed and he wanted to take revenge, and by mistaken identity, he killed a junior officer, and finally he was hanged under this pretext of the Lahore conspiracy. In the meantime, Jinnah proposed 14 points, including the representation, 1/3 representation for Muslims in the central and provisional cabinet. And that was, of course, agreed upon by the British as part of their divide and rule policy. And 1929, another hallmark, landmark in the freedom struggle, declaration of Purna Swaraj, Lahore session. Categorically, the Congress came out. It is Purna Swaraj. No, I will not mince any words, nothing less than Purna Swaraj, complete freedom, end of the British Raj. My destination is nothing but Purna Swaraj. That categorical statement repulsioned the whole war of independence. Bhagat Singh, you had, is the icon for the youth. He said, For the sake of the country, he was willing to die very happily chanting Bharat Mata Ki Jai, and he was laughing at the time of his death. Recently, and he contributed Inqilab Jindabad, long live the revolution. He was revolutionary. Yes, while you are young, you should be Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, Sukhdev, Chandrasekhar, or any revolutionary. And if you are not like that, for the cause of this country, not for you, you are not really inspired by these people. And see, last he was told by his uncle, tomorrow or day after tomorrow, you are going to be hanged, Bhagat. You did not believe in God, or you did never pray to God. Why don't you, at least it is a nice opportunity for you towards the end of your life, say Vaheguru and pray to the God Almighty. He may forgive if you have done anything wrong. The beautiful answer, every Indian should know what he told. See, uncle, if I pray God today for the sake of my heaven or for the sake of my forgiveness, I am the traitor culprit. I forgot him all these days for good or bad. And for the sake of my heaven today, if I pray him, I will not be true to my philosophy. And at least if I continue with the same what I had the notion yesterday and till my death, after that the God will realize, see, at least this guy is true to the core of his heart. That is the beauty of this thing. You should not change anything what you believe, and you should. That doesn't mean you should not be adamant to subscribe to the truth. You should be knowing the truth first, then believe it. That is Bhagat. Now, it is the third part of the Gandhi's movement, the civil disobedience, Dandi March. This was a great thing, and Gandhi went back for joining the second round table. And in the meantime, 1931, there was a great thing happened. I'm very proud to belong to his place, Pengadu Venkayya. He was the architect of the tricolor of this country, which we love like anything. And he designed, and it was improvised and adopted by the Congress as the official flag of India. And the tricolor was unfurled 1931. And civil disobedience movement, Dandi March, has a greater role in the greatest war of independence for Purna Swaraj. The Dandi March, I also pay tributes to those all people who died during the freedom struggle. And now, you see, in the last pandemic, there was a Dandi March. I call it the repeat of Dandi March by the poorest of the poor of this country. Thousands and millions traveled from different places on barefoot in 48 degrees, and they traveled in search of their home. And this is the country. If it is any other country which has no roots, that would have led into a social war. And the most loyal of this country as the poorest of this country, not the richest of this country, not the middle class or any upper middle class. They, without any murmur, they traveled and they sustained. That way, this is the repeat of Dandi March, I feel, as a person, and I really pay homage to those people who lost their lives then and now. Now, there was a communal award, again divide and rule, and Pune Pact. Our Gandhiji entered with the stalwart from, again, another stalwart of this national war of independence, the biggest social reformer who questioned the inequality of the social fabric of this country. Had Ambedkar not been there, you would not have seen the country today like this, because he questioned the inequality, physical inequality. And that was a towering personality. Ambedkar and Gandhi said, yes, we should protect the interests of the suppressed. Then the Government of India Act, which is major important thing, 1935. In fact, the 80% of our today's constitution is on the framework of 1935 Act, 1919 Act, including the British acts and other things. The World War broke out 39 to 45. In the meantime, Congress ministry resigned, protesting that how come without taking us into confidence you have declared the India would join the Second World War. Then the Lin-Lithgow proposal to seek the Indian cooperation in the World War, giving assurances you will be considered dominion status or some autonomy, all those things. Then the individual satyagraha, the nationwide satyagraha by stalwarts alone will not do. Each individual should do, like Anshan. So this was chosen by Acharya Vinoba Bhave, seconded by Nehru, and followed by Brahmadatta and many people from the Gandhi Ashram in Sabarmati. And Cripps Mission came to India to secure full cooperation to the Second World War by the Indian military support. And Quit India movement was the biggest in this order. Do or die. Enough of this. Now quit India. Bharat chodo. Ab ho gaya, bahut ho gaya. Bharat ko chhod dijiye aap. Enough of this cajoling. Enough of all these things. Who are you to give me concessions and globes here and there? It is my country, my freedom, my rule, and I shall have my freedom. Do or die. Either you quit the country or you will not be spared. That is the ultimatum given. Then Gandhi went to fast unto death in 1943. This was curbed like anything. And then there was a tussle between Muslim League and Congress on after the indications from the British government. Yes, after the Second World War, we are in principle considering to give you freedom, and let us start working on how the government should work, what kind of modalities, and all those things, interim government, those things. Then the disagreement between Muslim League and Congress was partition of the country, and this was the major thing bothering to move forward. Then Rajgopalachari made a formula, compromise formula, and it started indirectly accepting the partition from that time. Then the Viceroy plan, Shimla conference took place, how to go about, that was the plan to talk. And there was in between the INA trials after the British World War. Many people, the valiant the Indian army, the colonels and brigadiers, they were tried under the draconian British law. Court-martial was done, and they were imprisoned for treason and sent to Myanmar and all those places, Burma. And there it helped triggering supporting the national Indian this Azad Hind Pause by Subhash Chandra Bose. They helped Subhash Chandra Bose, and then there was a RIN ratings mutiny. The Indian Navy revolted. Navy uprising was the other name, insurrection. This was also curbed by the British. Then Subhash Chandra Bose, another towering personality, who said Jai Hind, Chalo Delhi. He sacrificed the Indian civil services. He did not join the British slavery as a government employee. And then because he could not go with the models of the Congress strategies, he left the country, went to Germany, via Afghanistan in disguise, Kabul, and Soviet Union and many other European countries. He traveled and sought the help of the political leaders. Azad Hind was his greatest contribution. and he formed the first provisional free Indian government in exile. A government in exile with Bo. He was heading the government in Singapore. INA was its military. Bose motivated the troops with his fierce speeches, impressed by the German Revolution, the French Revolution. Give me blood, मुझे खून दो, मैं आपको आजादी दूंगा, and I shall give you freedom. खून दो मतलब you support me, and I will give you the freedom, which is innumerable. Bose afterwards he was unsuccessful because the British and the Axis powers, allies, the combinations, the loss of the Japan and the Germany, all these people, he lost the support, and it is believed that he, in a tragic accident, he died in a plane crash at Taiwan on August 18, 1945. But this was rejected by many Indians, including you and I. Sometimes we believe Bose cannot be killed by like this. He is a valiant hero. He is still alive. That is true. He is not dead. He is alive in you and in me. So, next, also you are all scientists and going to be the great scientists of this country. I told what was my weakness, the country's weakness, why we lost at the hand of the Mughals, Arabs, and the foreign, and the British and the companies. So this was science and technology, which could have given the answer. Even today, that is the only answer. But science and technology endowed with the sustainable principles of nature, environment, the country, humanism, the ultimate of humanism. Even I am ready to lose my freedom if the humanism wins more than this. That should be the ultimate objective. But as I told, all these principles are lifeboats to reach the real journey, the same. So the direct role of the scientists like J.C. Bose, and he was part of the Satyagraha. Yellappragada Subbarao, I really feel proud. He hails from my place, Bhimavaram in Andhra Pradesh. He joined Gandhi's movement. He wore khadi. Because of that, the professor teaching the Brandfield did not give him the degree, grant him degree, and he was only a licentiate medical surgeon. A certificate was given. He went to Harvard and he discovered many drugs. That was Subbarao. And M.N. Saha, another anti-partitioner movement who led in Bengal, he was expelled from the school. Then C.V. Raman, Nobel laureate from this country, and you see lot of people, Nobel laureates, great scientists were created even under the suppression British Raj. Money was not there and honor was not there. British called us dogs and Indians, and this white supremacy prevailed everywhere. In spite of that, with naked eye, Raman invented the kind of thing which we brought him laurels. He became the Nobel laureate with his physical research. And afterwards, he booked his ticket 6 months in advance. That is the level of confidence. Before the results are declared, he declared result himself, I am going to win the Nobel. That is the confidence. And he booked the ticket. People thought that he would miss the event to receive the Nobel Prize because you can't book less than 3 months. But when people asked this question, he showed the ticket for him and wife. That is the confidence you should all have. And all the projects he proved, Raman, money never stops you. And the real success is without money. That is the sustainability. And he cried while receiving the Nobel Prize. My country, my motherland has no flag. Everybody is brandishing their flags. My country has no flag. That is that. Second, another thing is like ML Sarkar, Vidyasagar, Maharaja of Vijayanagar with the support. They did research. Raman also. He was not a PhD, he was an accountant general of British government, and he was just an MSc by the time, it seems. And then Ashutosh Mukherjee, and he sought donations to create this kind of patriotic Indian group. First Palette professor was C.V. Raman, and National Planning Committee, Nehru as chairman in 1939, M.N. Saha, J.C. Ghosh, and they recommended CSIR to start in 1942 with S.S. Bhatnagar, DG. Now 40 institutes are there. Also, this led to IITs, first IIT at Kharagpur, J.C. Ghosh being the director in 1950, Bhatnagar, first chairperson of UGC in 1953. And that was the role silently played by many of these scientists. And today you have the greatest role to protect the physical integrity of this country by virtue of the science and technological advancement and answering the internal problems. Now, the cabinet mission fails, the Constituent Assembly constituted, interim government was formed, Viceroy Mountbatten made a plan which was employed to divide the country into 100 pieces, continue the division like anything, and they rejected. And ultimately, with only Jammu Kashmir and few princely states, Pakistan, Junagadh, Hyderabad, including Bhopal, they got freedom afterwards with the efforts of the Sardar Patel, the Iron Man of India. And then ultimately, the Muslim League and Congress agreed to the plan of partition, which was inevitable, and the Independence Act of 1947 proclaimed the freedom of the country. The country, at the stroke of the midnight, woke into a free India on 14th August and 15th August, the intervening night. And Bharat Mata started bleeding even after the country was independent. Millions of people were dead in the communal violence of partition that is still bleeding the Mother India. Then the most unfortunate incident is end of Gandhi by the bullets of Nathuram Godse on January 31, 1948. It is an end of an epoch. Gandhi, you can call it an avatar, because you may not believe after 100 years if anybody says there is a personality called Gandhi who walked alive on this country, like Einstein himself told. So we can say that Gandhi, he was assassinated and he became a martyr, and he died a heroic death, a warrior without a weapon. Even if you see Mahabharata, Krishna never fought with a weapon. He led, he was the architect. Arjuna fought. Gandhi made so many Arjunas, the leadership model. He never aspired for anything. He was a half-naked fakir and inspired so many of us. Then this is the momentous occasion where the British flag came down and the tricolor was unfurling by first Prime Minister. And this is the effort of the Sardar Patel after independence, uniting the India with 562 independence princely states, and by military option taking over Hyderabad from Nizam, Junagadh in Gujarat, and Jammu and Kashmir, which lasted till now, the problem. Then the colonial independent India became independent, but it was a political independence, but the government requires a constitution. The work was started. The architect of the constitution, Ambedkar, laid the principles of social justice, and it was adopted by the country on 26 January 1950, showing the second integration with the self-rule by a charter signed and enacted. And this was started in Purna Swaraj resolution of Lahore in 1930, January 26. That is why we celebrate Republic Day. It was a republic, not any kind of form of kingdom or continuous rule of other kind. And now the country is free but not yet liberated, because we are struggling with so many problems, social problems, illiteracy, poverty, women suppression, suppression of the downtrodden classes, third gender, Divyang, linguistic discrimination, corruption, communalism, so many. All these things are again chaining the Mother India, which of course very big, but there are answers. The only resolution is you and I, and this is no big deal. You may be wondering, how come we can answer all these things? 100% you can answer all these problems with confidence, with your idea alone. You don't require an American economy for this, but your idea, your resolve will do that. Certainly will do. And partition and its consequences are still there. Communal issues challenge the Indian diversity, unity. We should overcome such kind of lines. This is a country, a beautiful commonwealth created by a resolve beyond all these differences. And you create so beautiful, the whole is a livable planet and a livable country. We should prove that with our deeds and thought. Gandhi told there is everything given by nature for everybody's needs, but not by greeds. This is the answer. If you don't have greed, if the needs are answered, then if the country is bad, today it is a fashion to everybody to say, country is bad. Why country is bad? Country is never bad. It's not a brick and mortar. Country means not the geography, not the terrain, red soil, white soil, or green soil, or the black soil. Country is you and I. Yes, if the country is bad, you are bad, I am bad, we are bad. So never blame it on the country, blame it on me, blame it on you. And now the answer for the youth to overcome many of the things were found in the form of the spiritual leaders. Spiritual leaders generally propagate a dogma, a philosophy, a religion, a God. But if you read about Vivekananda, who lived through the Indian freedom struggle, he is the only, this is my personal coinage, most secular saint of the world. If you can find anybody, that is Vivekananda. How can a saint be secular? Saint always talks about religion, God. But if you read Vivekananda, God is at the end, not at the forefront. And he dared the God. He's a socialist saint. He said, if the God you believe in fails to get you the loaf to satiate your hunger while you are alive, can you trust such God who promises you heaven after you die? This is the truth. Why do I require heaven if I am starving today? Though I believe or don't believe God, that's not important. Therefore, God, religion should not come in front of you when you start loving the country. Somebody was asking the young boy or a young girl, how can I love my wife after my marriage? How can I love my mother? And how can I love my wife also? Look, it's God religion, nature, mother, wife, motherland, then mother tongue. All these are independent. You have immaculate love. It is unlimited. Nothing is exclusive. Everything is inclusive. So therefore, and he gave a very big definition of an Indian. To me, an Indian is one who has got a Vedantic brain. The brain should be filled with the Vedantic philosophy of the country, the ethos, which probes deep and soars high. An Islamic body that is the vibrant and valiant, and a Buddhistic heart with overflowing compassion and the kindness of a Christian limbs. This is the best definition that any saint could have given, or any politician, any philosopher, any scientist, or any human. I don't require any definition beyond this for a great Indian. And then he is a saint with the socialistic order. He said religion is not for who is dying, who is crying for want of love. And he inspired the youth, he inspired the world, and he is the brand ambassador of the India that was yesterday, which is a wonder, and today that will be there. He said, arise, awake, and proud to be an Indian. You should not shy away. Your profession is great. Your mother is great. Mother tongue is great. Motherland is great. But you are an Indian, and you be proud of that. And you need not sacrifice. It's not a taboo. Nationalism or love for motherland is not a taboo. It doesn't come in any way. Ultimately, it takes you to the humanism and Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. You will believe the whole world is a family. And this is the thing. What is the patriotism? If you go to the Aranyakanda of Ramayana, the epic, he talked about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and he said, Lakshmana, even this golden Lanka after the defeat of Ravana doesn't appeal to me. Mother and motherland are superior. I want to go back to Ayodhya, and it is superior than heaven. Api Swarnamayi Lanka na me Lakshmana rochate. Janani Janmabhumisya Swargadapi Gariyasi. Mother and motherland are greater than heaven. That is, and he talked Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, ultimately referring to the whole world as single family. As a young graduates or the members of this society, we should strive what we can do. The work, it is karma, ultimately, as told by many of our people. Karma is nothing to do with the religion. You do your job sincerely and you will get the results. That is true. If I don't do my job, how can I think there will be a salary in my account tomorrow? This is the India that was built those days. Science and technology, engineering in this format, current format may not be existing in those days, but the 2500-year-old construction still exists in the country, and immaculate civil engineering. It doesn't collapse. And today's, maybe the construction guarantee may be for 50 to 100 years, but you go Tanjavur, you go to Shah Jahan's fort, the Red Fort, anywhere, 400 years old, this Taj Mahal and all those things. This is our beautiful institute. If you serve the institute, you are serving the country. That is enough. And question and answers, if you have, I'm sorry if I have taken too much of your time. And I have to acknowledge so many people, Kankan Bhattacharya ji, who gave slides on scientists and freedom struggle, Gautam Biswas, about this thing, Vivekananda philosophy, Wikipedia, digital media, and many unknown contributors, Shikha Agarwal, my staff member, Praveen David, my son Abhiram, who helped me in compiling this thing. helping me. Disclaimer, please excuse me if there are any inadvertent errors.